Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're not just looking at real estate in general. We're really
Yeah.
peeling back the layers on the high stakes world of luxury property sales.
hmm
This isn't your average market, right? It's a realm where strategy, psychology, and precision all kind of converge.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's really get into what it takes to succeed here. We need to understand how a truly strategic approach redefines selling what's essentially a high value asset.
Yeah. And what's genuinely fascinating, I think, about the sources we're diving into is how they just completely dismantle conventional wisdom.
Right.
They offer what feels like a no-nonsense playbook for luxury sellers.
Right.
It cuts through all the fluff and those common misconceptions that can, frankly, trip up even experienced owners.
Yeah, the
It's
fluff.
a very tactical, very unfiltered, and confidently presented viewpoint.
I couldn't agree more. And to guide our deep dive today, we pulled from three really insightful sources. First, there's a brand, tone, and personality document. It sets the stage for a very distinct, powerful communication style.
Mm.
Then we'll dive into the luxury seller FAQ, brutally honest answers to real questions, which, well, the title says it all, tackles common queries with refreshing candor.
Hey, brutally honest. I like that.
Exactly. And finally, my process for marketing luxury listings, which lays out this really structured, almost military precision strategy.
Wow.
So our goal today is to give you, our listener, a really clear picture of the mindset, the challenges, and the exact processes involved in selling luxury property effectively. So let's jump right into what our sources reveal as like a fundamental shift in perspective. It's truly a mindset change.
Okay.
The brand tone and personality document describes its content style as smart, tactical, and unfiltered, delivered with precision, confidence, and authenticity.
Right.
And at the core of it all is this belief: I don't sell houses, I position assets to the right buyers. That's more than just a catchy phrase, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
How does that reframing from selling houses to positioning assets actually change the practical steps a seller takes?
Well, it's a crucial distinction. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it moves the property from being just a house, a place with bedrooms and bathrooms, to a valuable asset,
Mm-hmm.
akin to like a finely tuned investment or maybe a piece of art. And this perspective, it demands a specific, tailored strategy rather than just passively putting a for sale sign out.
Right. No sign in the yard needed sometimes.
Exactly. The sources emphasize that luxury isn't a price point, it's a presentation. And a particularly potent line I found was, you don't need a sign in the yard, you need strategy.
Strategy.
I
Okay.
know. This whole approach has been described as a mix between a TED Talk and a tactical briefing,
Interesting.
which implies, you need both that high-level, insightful thinking and practical, actionable steps.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond just cleaning up the place.
That's a great way to put it. It really forces you to think differently about the whole process. One of our sources puts it so eloquently: let's be real. No one's buying your pool. They're buying how that pool makes them feel.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful.
So, what does this actually mean for your approach when you're presenting a property? Can you maybe give an example of how focusing on that feeling rather than just the physical feature dramatically shifts the marketing message?
Absolutely. And this really goes to the heart of understanding the deep psychological drivers of luxury buyers.
Oh, okay.
So instead of simply listing features like it has a large custom pool, a strategic approach frames it. It becomes your private oasis, perfect for unwinding after a long week or hosting unforgettable summer gatherings.
Ah, okay. Selling the experience.
Exactly. You're not just selling water and concrete. You're selling relaxation, prestige, maybe memorable experiences. It's about painting a picture of the desired lifestyle, tapping into that emotional aspiration of the buyer. That's a much more powerful motivator at this level.
So, we've talked about this fundamental mindset shift from selling a house to positioning an asset. What does that mindset actually mean when you're faced with real-world questions? Those common concerns every luxury seller has.
Right, the practical stuff.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting, because our sources directly tackle some of those queries with what they call brutally honest answers, applying that strategic lens we just discussed.
Hmm.
It seems like a lot of traditional real estate advice is almost, well, counterintuitive in the luxury market. What do you think is the biggest mental hurdle sellers face when they realize they might need to throw out the old playbook?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
I think the biggest hurdle is often ego.
Yeah.
maybe tied to a sentimental attachment to the property, or sometimes just a reliance on outdated market assumptions.
Okay.
These FAQs really challenge those ingrained ideas. Let's look at some of these unfiltered truths directly from the sources.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, a classic. Can't I just wait for the market to come back up?
Yeah, hear that one a lot.
Right. The answer is incredibly direct. Sure. And you might also wait for Blockbuster to make a comeback.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah, it's blunt. But this isn't just humor. It's making an important point that the luxury market isn't down, it's different.
Different how?
Well, today's luxury buyer isn't just looking at square footage. They're analyzing the lifestyle proposition, the investment potential, the scarcity.
Mm.
They're more informed than ever,
Mm.
often having seen dozens of properties online before they even step foot in one.
So much research beforehand.
Exactly. So simply waiting for market conditions to shift often just means you're giving your competition more time to execute a better strategy.
Yeah.
You need to sell smart now.
That Blockbuster analogy definitely hits home. So for a market that's different, what specifically makes today's luxury buyers smarter and more selective? What are they scrutinizing more closely than buyers maybe 5 or 10 years ago?
Well, today's luxury buyers are often digital natives, or at least very digitally proficient. They've done their homework, like we said. They're scrutinizing details, like a property's digital footprint, the quality of its online presentation, the perceived value proposition against global benchmarks, not just local comps.
Global benchmarks. Interesting.
Yeah, they're looking for an experience, not just a transaction.
Mm.
And if the listing presentation feels anything less than, bespoke and intentional, they'll just move on because, frankly, they have countless other options.
Makes sense. Okay, what's next?
Then there's, do I really need to stage my home? The unfiltered answer, only if you want to sell it for more.
Huh. Okay, pretty clear.
Yeah. I often tell sellers, you're not selling your style, you're selling aspiration. Staging is presented almost as a psychological weapon.
Oh, weapon.
Well, yeah, designed to help buyers envision the potential to see themselves living that luxury lifestyle in the space, even at this high level. It's about decluttering not just physical items, but also the mental barriers for the buyer.
Psychological weapon. I love that. But isn't staging traditionally seen as something for homes that might struggle to attract attention? For a luxury property, which often already has stunning architecture, high-end finishes. What exactly is staging doing that the inherent quality isn't already achieving?
That's a really common misconception. Even the most stunning luxury homes can sometimes suffer from a lack of emotional connection or maybe a confusing layout if they're not presented thoughtfully.
Ah, okay.
Staging helps define spaces, it adds warmth, it highlights architectural features, and crucially, it removes the seller's personal imprint. That allows the buyer to project their own future into the home.
So it lets them imagine it as theirs.
Precisely.
Hmm.
It's about creating an idealized, aspirational blank canvas, not about masking flaws. It's different at this level.
Got it. Okay, what other tough questions?
Another crucial one. Should I price high and negotiate down?
The classic strategy for some.
Right. But the advice here is a firm no. Instead, you should price right and negotiate up.
Negotiate up. How does that work?
Well, the source explains that starting too high scares off the best, most qualified buyers, and frankly, it insults their intelligence.
Hmm.
The goal isn't just to list a number and pray, it's to create demand, leverage, and bidding scenarios. Overpricing can actually lead to a lower sale price in the long run because the property just sits there, accumulating days on market, which signals desperation to savvy buyers.
That's a complete flip of what many conventional agents might advise. If a seller does start with that price high, negotiate down strategy, what are the direct tangible consequences they might see that make this approach so, bad in the luxury sphere?
Oh, the consequences can be significant. First, you miss the most active buyers, the ones who are constantly monitoring the market for correctly priced opportunities. They see it's overpriced, they just move on.
They don't even engage.
Exactly. You also establish the ceiling that's too high, making it harder to justify the price later, even after you make reductions. This leads to the property sitting on the market longer, becoming stale.
And buyers notice that.
Savvy luxury buyers absolutely notice the history. They assume there's something wrong, and then they'll only consider lowball offers, if they consider it at all. So the seller ends up chasing the market down, they lose control, and ultimately often sell for less than they would have with a sharp initial pricing strategy that generated genuine excitement.
Wow. Okay. So pricing right is critical from day one.
Critical. Then there's, do I need to update everything before I list?
Ah, the renovation question.
Yeah. This one also gets a nuanced answer.
Yeah.
Not always. In luxury real estate, it's often better to list with potential than to over-improve and misfire.
Misfire. Meaning spend money unnecessarily.
Precisely. The essentials are cleaning to perfection, staging correctly, fixing anything genuinely broken, and maybe neutralizing any really bold or odd colors. But the key takeaway is to avoid spending a significant amount on things a buyer might just rip out anyway. The source says, let's be smart, not emotional.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider how specific buyer preferences can be for high-end finishes. But how do sellers differentiate between, say, fixing what's broken and a significant over-improvement? Where's that line drawn for a luxury property?
It's a fine line, definitely.
Right.
But generally, anything that impacts safety, functionality, or a buyer's immediate impression of quality that falls under fix what's broken.
Like leaky faucets.
Exactly. Leaky faucets, non-working appliances, maybe chip paint in obvious places. Over-improvement, on the other hand, might be installing a very specific high-tech smart home system that only a fraction of buyers might actually want or appreciate.
Or a super trendy kitchen renovation.
Right, or undertaking a full kitchen renovation when the existing kitchen is perfectly functional, maybe just not ultra-modern.
Okay.
The key is to address anything that would be an immediate no for a discerning buyer, but avoid those subjective, massive upgrades that a new owner might really prefer to personalize themselves.
Be smart, not emotional. Got it. What else?
And the timeless question, how long will it take to sell?
Always comes up.
Always. The source explains, look, this depends on the strategy, the price, the presentation, the buyer pool, a lot of factors. But the real answer isn't about how long, it's about how little time we spend on the market before generating qualified demand.
Ah, so speed to demand, not necessarily speed to close.
Exactly. The goal is to achieve top dollar without the property looking desperate. They cite examples of sales in, say, 8 days or 30 days. It's about efficiency and impact, not just waiting patiently.
That's a critical distinction. So how little time we spend on the market before generating qualified demand, that implies a very proactive, very targeted approach. What does that look like in practice beyond just great staging and pricing? How do you generate that qualified demand quickly?
Well, it really comes down to pinpoint marketing and leveraging networks. It means having an established list of high net worth individuals, an extensive network of other luxury buyer agents, and maybe the ability to discreetly reach out to family offices, relocation firms, or international brokers who you know already have pre-qualified buyers.
So it's about relationships.
Huge part of it. It's not about casting a wide net and just hoping. It's about casting a very precise net to catch the right fish quickly and efficiently.
Makes sense. Is there one more FAQ?
Yes, finally. What if I want to sell off-market?
Ooh, the private sale.
Right. And the response here is incredibly encouraging. Good. You're probably more strategic than most sellers already.
Oh,
Yeah. Off-market doesn't mean invisible. It means intentional. This approach allows for very targeted marketing. Think relocation firms, private buyer lists, investor groups, international agents, brokers known for high-end clientele, all while maintaining complete privacy. It's described as a favorite playbook for a reason. It's about control and discretion.
That's fascinating because off-market often sounds like it might limit exposure, right? Yet here it's praised for being strategic. What are the biggest advantages of an off-market sale, particularly for these luxury properties where discretion and a curated buyer pool are paramount?
Well, the primary advantage is just unparalleled control and discretion. For high-profile individuals or maybe people with really unique assets, privacy is often as valuable as the final sale price.
Sure, I can see that.
Off-market sales prevent the property from becoming public knowledge, which can be crucial for security reasons or financial privacy. It allows for a much more controlled narrative, where the property is only shown to a select, pre-qualified group of buyers who genuinely match the asset profile.
Creating exclusivity.
Exactly. It generates a sense of exclusivity, which is a really powerful psychological lever in the luxury market. It often creates a more competitive environment among a smaller but highly motivated pool of buyers. And, it prevents the tire kickers and focuses solely on serious, capable purchasers.
It's incredible how those brutally honest answers really cut through the noise, isn't it? They just underscore the value of that strategic mindset we started with.
Absolutely.
But, knowing what not to do and having that clear head, that's only half the battle. Our listeners are probably thinking, okay, I get the mindset, I get the pitfalls. Now, how do I actually do this? What's the practical playbook for getting my luxury listing sold?
Exactly. And this is where the source, my process for marketing luxury listings, comes in. It outlines a clear 6-step approach. And this isn't just like a list of tasks. It's a meticulously planned operation. It combines rigorous discipline with a highly personalized, almost white-glove client experience.
Okay, let's walk through it. Step one.
Step one is strategic buyer profiling. This is absolutely crucial because before you write any description or take any photos, you identify your ideal buyer.
Know your audience first.
Precisely. Are they relocating executives looking for something turnkey? Are they international investors seeking a specific return? Maybe prestige-driven individuals desiring a real trophy property? This precise profile then guides every single subsequent decision. It ensures your efforts are targeted and you eliminate wasted energy.
That makes perfect sense. Knowing your audience is fundamental. But for a seller, how do they practically participate in this buyer profiling? Is it just like a conversation with their agent, or are there specific details or insights they should be bringing to the table about their property's unique appeal?
Oh, it's definitely a collaborative conversation.
Uh-huh.
A seller knows their property better than anyone else, right?
True.
They can highlight unique features, maybe the specific lifestyle aspects they've really enjoyed, or the hidden gems of the neighborhood that an outsider might not know. This insider perspective, when you combine it with an expert's market data and network insights, it forms a much more robust buyer profile.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so say the seller is an avid golfer. They might highlight the property's proximity to exclusive courses, maybe even specific membership details if relevant. That immediately helps identify a potential buyer segment.
Gotcha. Okay, step two.
Step two is premium pricing strategy. Luxury homes, as the source points out, they just don't follow standard pricing logic. The analysis involves evaluating active luxury competition, yes, but also really understanding the unique lifestyle upgrades your home offers.
Beyond just comps.
Way beyond comps, and critically, navigating traditional appraisal values versus the emotional value drivers, those things that can make a discerning luxury buyer willing to pay a premium.
Like what kind of things?
Unique amenities, maybe an irreplaceable view, exclusive access to something. The goal is to build a pricing narrative that shows why your property is worth it and create scarcity around it.
That distinction between traditional appraisal values and emotional value drivers seems key. Can you maybe illustrate a scenario where that emotional value allowed a property to sell significantly above its strict appraisal? And how was that pricing narrative crafted?
Certainly. Okay, imagine a property with, say, a completely custom state-of-the-art home theater, maybe a wine cellar that's carved into natural rock, and just breathtaking, unobstructed ocean views from every main room.
Wow. Okay.
An appraisal might give a number based on square footage and comps that, don't quite capture these really bespoke elements. The pricing narrative here would focus not just on the cost of building the theater, but on the unparalleled experience of private cinematic indulgence.
Selling the feeling again.
Exactly. Not just a wine cellar, but a curated collection space for a connoisseur. And those views, you position them as a daily dose of serenity and inspiration, maybe a living work of art. The narrative isn't just about what it is, but what it offers in terms of a unique, irreplaceable lifestyle that a specific buyer will recognize and pay a premium for.
Okay, that makes sense. So after profiling and pricing, what's step three?
Step three focuses on cinematic presentation. This means treating your home like a feature film.
A feature film?
Yeah, we're talking high-end video walkthroughs, maybe with voiceover or carefully selected music. Drone aerials, especially for unique features like waterfront access or vast acreage. Virtual twilight photography for that extra drama. And most importantly, lifestyle storytelling.
Lifestyle storytelling. Tell me more about that.
It's about showing the home in use, not just sitting empty. Each photo, each video clip is meticulously designed to trigger emotion and action in that target buyer we identified.
This cinematic approach sounds incredibly powerful. How is lifestyle storytelling specifically achieved in practice? What kind of shots or narrative elements are we talking about to really convey that emotional connection?
Well, lifestyle storytelling goes way beyond just static images of empty rooms. It might involve subtle shots, like a beautifully set breakfast table on a sun-drenched patio and playing, leisurely mornings. Or maybe a perfectly arranged cocktail bar, hinting at sophisticated entertaining. Or even just a close-up of a high-end designer fixture, emphasizing the craftsmanship and attention to detail.
Setting a scene.
Exactly. It's about evoking a narrative without necessarily showing people the viewer projects themselves into that story. The video might feature really smooth, flowing camera movements, showcasing the journey through the home, perhaps ending on that stunning view, as if it's inviting you to step right into that aspirational life.
Very cool. Okay, step four.
Step four is multi-channel luxury marketing. And this emphasizes not relying solely on the MLS, the main listing service.
Right, got to go beyond that.
Definitely. Instead, it involves launching highly targeted campaigns on curated luxury platforms. Think the Real Deal, Mansion Global, James Edition, places like that.
Where luxury buyers actually look.
Precisely. It also includes digital ad campaigns, using techniques like geofencing to target ads specifically to affluent zip codes, both here and maybe internationally. This ensures your property's marketing is seen by the most likely high net worth buyers where they live and work.
Smart.
Plus, strategic use of Instagram and YouTube Reels, and crucially, direct outreach to a luxury buyer Rolodex and broker network. This comprehensive approach aims to give your property real presence, not just basic visibility.
So it's about casting a wide net, but a smart wide net, like you said. Given the breadth of these channels, what's the biggest mistake sellers might make when trying to market a luxury property themselves, or maybe with a less experienced agent, particularly in that digital realm?
Yeah, the biggest mistake is probably the scattergun approach, just listing everywhere without any real strategy. Or, on the flip side, completely underestimating the power of these targeted niche channels.
So either too broad or too narrow.
Kind of, yeah. Many agents just put a listing on the MLS and, well, wait. For a luxury property, it's like the whispering in a library when you really need to be heard in a concert hall.
Good analogy.
The digital realm demands high-quality professional assets, like that cinematic presentation we talked about, and a deep understanding of where the actual luxury buyers are spending their time online, not just where everyone else is. Poor photography, generic descriptions, or a lack of targeted digital ads will just ensure the property blends into the noise instead of standing out as the unique asset it is.
Okay, that makes sense. What's step 5?
Step 5, when it's needed, is the private access strategy. This connects right back to our FAQ about selling off-market.
Right, the discreet approach.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a quiet confidence approach. This might involve using NDA-required previews, offering private showings only, and leveraging that off-market exposure to specific groups like investment firms, relocation executives, and known high-end buyer agents. This strategy dramatically increases exclusivity and prevents the property from becoming stale on the open market, all while maintaining the seller's privacy.
A quiet confidence approach. It sounds like a delicate dance of carefully orchestrated exclusivity. How do you balance that desire for exclusivity with ensuring enough exposure to find the absolute best buyer and, achieve the highest possible price? Isn't there a risk of being too exclusive?
That's precisely the art of it. You're right. The balance comes from meticulously pre-qualifying potential buyers, leveraging a really robust network of trusted luxury brokers, and having that clear understanding of the specific buyer profile we defined back in step 1.
So it all ties together.
It all ties together. You're not really cutting off exposure. You're making it exclusive exposure. It's about quality over quantity. An experienced professional knows exactly which channels and which individuals to approach without overexposing the property or making it seem widely available. The goal is to generate genuine demand from serious, capable buyers who actually understand and appreciate the value of a discrete process, not just to get as many eyeballs as possible.
Quality over quantity. Makes sense. And the final step.
And finally, step 6, smart negotiation and closing. This isn't about passively receiving offers and just going back and forth. The approach described is to shape them, not just play ping pong.
Shape the offers. How?
Well, it includes pre-qualifying interest even before serious showings happen, structuring favorable timelines and terms for the seller right from the start, minimizing friction by meticulously preparing documents, disclosures, and legal protections up front.
Proactive.
Very proactive. And providing a comprehensive sort of white glove concierge style service from that initial offer all the way through to the final key handoff. It's about maintaining control and leverage throughout the entire closing process.
That sounds like an incredibly comprehensive strategy. It really does embody that rigorous, disciplined approach, but also with that high-touch client experience you mentioned. But to achieve that level of precision and bespoke service, what do you think is the biggest challenge for most sellers when they first encounter this kind of sophisticated process?
That's a good question. I think the biggest challenge for many sellers is learning to step back and actually trust the process.
Letting go a bit.
Exactly. They often come in with preconceived notions, maybe from previous more conventional real estate transactions they've had. This approach requires them to let go of some old ideas, be open to what might seem like aggressive but is actually strategic pricing, Embrace the extensive preparation required for that cinematic presentation and understand that sometimes less visible marketing can actually be more effective. It's really about ceding control of the tactical execution to an expert while maintaining clear strategic goals together. It's a partnership, fundamentally built on a shared understanding that the luxury market just demands a different caliber of effort and expertise.
A true partnership.
Yeah. And if we connect all of this back to the bigger picture, it's just incredibly clear that luxury sellers, well, they deserve truth, not platitudes or sugarcoating. They need a sophisticated strategy, not just some catchy marketing slogans.
Hmm.
And they certainly need someone who's actually been in these high-stakes rooms before, someone who deeply understands the nuances of this unique market.
Mm.
As that FAQ source so succinctly puts it, luxury doesn't sell itself. It hires the right pro to do it.
That really sums it up.
It's about having that dedicated expert guidance at every single turn.
What an illuminating deep dive. Seriously. So, thinking about our listeners, what does all this mean for your next big decision? Maybe it's selling an asset, maybe it's making a significant investment, or even launching a high-value project.
Yeah, how does this apply more broadly?
Right. How might adopting a smart, tactical, and unfiltered mindset and really demanding a clear, systematic strategy fundamentally change your outcomes? Perhaps the most important takeaway isn't just about real estate, but about approaching any high-stakes objective with that precision, that confidence, and the bespoke strategy that truly commands success. Maybe think about where you might be passively listing, instead of actively positioning.